Fearless Disease.
Fearless Disease fam, today we expose the truth they hate to hear. Like right now, if you are ready. Awesome segment for the day. Mr. Andrew Wilson, man, conservative debater, actually a Christian conservative debater, awesome in the space. Salute to him. I love the work that he does. He recently went on to PBD's podcast to talk about his life, what's going on with him, his back and forths and his debates with people on YouTube, and just overall what type of man he is, which is, I love this segment. But I like this partial hit right here. He's talking about destroying world views, and I think is very intriguing what he's talking about today when it comes to to the right or left or blue and red, is that if you are a particular on the side, we're talking about, we're on Fearless Disease, the Republican side and the Christian side, that you just don't have to be able to contend with certain people. You have to actually destroy their worldview so they can be able to rebuild and see the correct one. But I like what he's talking about here. Let's go and go deep into this one.
Andrew, when I look at your eyes and I see you in different things, or even when you walked in here, you have a look. Your eyes have a look, and there's rage behind it. Okay, that's the look you have. Why do you have that look?
Rage?
Yeah, you have rage. There is a certain look where it looks, you're skeptical always, and you have.
Well, he put it in a better way now. I don't think he has rage behind his eyes. I think he may be skeptical and he's very serious, and he just has a stature and stoicism to him that he may seem like he's all putting, or it may have, like he said, rage or anger. But I never saw that in Andrew when he looked at certain people, or when I've seen him on podcasts or any video. He doesn't look angry to me.
Rage and a look that you trust nobody.
Well, maybe to an extent. In this industry, you can't trust anybody. You probably know that well. I've noted that there have been many hit pieces on you. And the more famous, and the more famous you get, the more there'll be.
Yeah.
Same here. I have tons and tons on me as well. And one of the few people in this industry that I do trust, you probably know Steven Crowder, right? I saw what these people did to him. I saw what they did to him. And I saw what the people who were supposedly on my side did to him. I call them the Sewing Circle Christians. And these people do basically keep me in a continuous state of rage. And the reason...
I don't know if that's fair or not. What it did to Steven Crowder was horrible, what it did with him. If you didn't know, Steven Crowder is another political, or I would say Republican podcast personality, and he did things the correct way. He's a Christian guy. He actually married a woman that was seen like a very good Christian woman, but things get rocky just like with anybody's relationship. It all depends if you're able to fix it or not. But to go into what really happened was, on camera they caught him actually yelling or going back and forth with his wife. Unfortunately, she was, of course, pregnant, but that's the backlash he got. He can't talk too stern to his wife, and he should be nice all the time to his wife, even if she is pregnant, or even if she's wrong or right, be nicer. So he got a lot of backlash, and after that video, it was actually taken from their house video, and of course the wife had put it out there. So, and then he's shown to be the bad guy. He's a horrible person, and a lot of people did turn on him. He stepped back a little bit, and a lot of people that say it was on his side really talked bad about him. And most notably, of course, who was on the side, Miss Candace Owens talked about him, how horrible he was of a man. We was for yelling at a pregnant wife. Now, I don't want to dig deep into that, but just because you're pregnant doesn't mean that you can't get any type of scrutiny, and just because you raise your voice doesn't mean you're a horrible man. People ran their house in a certain way. If that he feels that he needed to do that in that realm, who am I to say how he should be in his household? He didn't hurt her. He didn't put his hands on her, nothing like that. He just used his voice and got a little bit more octave in it. That's sometimes you have to do that with certain women. I think all women may have to get a little certain octave to them, but that doesn't make you a bad husband or a man or a Christian. Let's continue.
Why is this? It's like, I'm sure you've heard the Teddy Roosevelt, the man in the arena speech, right? That's what a guy like Crowder was and is, the man in the arena. Just everybody's a critic, And I remember when that video came out, that they spread it everywhere. His political enemies, his bitch ex-wife, all of them just spread it everywhere, right? He's an abuser. He's a this. He's a.
So I'm gonna hold on real quick. I know he cursed a lot, but he ain't had to call a woman a bitch, man. He ain't have to do that. He ain't have to. But this is how angry. Andrew is very, and sometimes I don't know if he's animated or this is just how he is, or he's just passionate about it, or he's just really an a-hole, like some people would say. But it's him. That's what he wants to do. Who am I to say he can't, man? He's a grown man.
That, and I'm like, I remember watching that video and thinking, oh, that ain't even that bad. That ain't even that bad.
In
Like,
the backyard of the house.
yeah,
going back
I was
and
like, man,
forth.
I've been in worse fights than that with my old lady. What are you talking about? Right?
Exactly.
I actually agree.
Married.
Yeah, I was like, I've been in worse fights than that with my old lady over way less, way more petty stuff. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it's like, and the thing is, it's like all these holier than thou people.
This guy, this clip.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've all seen this.
Yeah. And it's all these holier than thou sewing circle Christians are like, how could you endorse an abuser? How could you defend an abuser? How could you do this? And I'm
Not
thinking,
abuser.
shut up, you lying snake. Like, there's no way you're going to convince me that in the course of your relationship of 20 years, that if we had cameras on you at all times, we're not going to find this moment times 20. It's going to happen.
That's what I'm saying. That's what makes it annoying when people do that. Like, you've never had a tiff with your relationship with your woman. Like, you never went off as a wife went off on your husband. And some people think that all relationships are just sunshines and rainbows just because they're in a public eye. That's not how it works. People go through things. People have disagreements. People argue. That is what being in a marriage is you're going to argue. You're going to have tiffs. So I don't know why people acted that way. But he was in the limelight, so they try to find anything to tear down, I would guess, the perfect guy.
Happen. Just shut up.
100%.
Yeah, just shut up. Stop bullshitting me. You know what I mean? But the thing is a lot of those people who are the critics, let's say in your case, my case, Crowder's case, many others, a lot of that, I think, comes from a position of jealousy. And it comes from a position of envy. And because of that, these people, all they do is criticize. But my challenge has always been to the sewing circle Christians, well, where are you? Like, I'm on the other end of the most diabolical people daily. I'm in the most hostile environments, the most hostile panels, right? I'm always completely surrounded. I've never seen any of you. Where the hell are you? Well, you're siding with our enemies because I'm too mean, or Crowder's too mean, or anybody who defends themselves is too mean. Why don't you show us how it's done? And they're nowhere. They're nowhere. In many ways, I respect leftists who will engage on their ideology, right, and engage on the arguments much more than I respect my own side of of which has many of these sewing circle Christians who refuse to engage, but instead just want to virtue signal to the audience. No, I'm a real Christian. You would never hear me say something so nasty and evil to a diabolical person who just told me they killed 3 of their kids in the womb, And I'm like, what? I'm supposed to sit there and go, oh, well, okay then. Let me pat you on the head and read gospel. That doesn't work. You have to destroy worldviews before you can replace worldviews.
Yes.
That is powerful right there. Exactly what he's saying. But this Christians do not understand when being Christian. They think Christian is just, you're supposed to be holier than thou, and then if anything goes wrong to you or does bad to you, you're just supposed to turn the other cheek and just don't say nothing and just go away and just be that punk. I'm sorry, that's not what Christians used to be. If you really read the Bible, Jesus was nothing like that. Jesus would be able to, he flipped tables. He would correct the wrong. He would actually speak up. He had that octave to his voice. He didn't play. If he saw wrong, he said it was wrong and he corrected it. People nowadays will see wrong and they don't want to say anything, because if you say anything, then you're the wrong person. That's not being Christian-like. That's BS or bullshit. Exactly what it is. So what he's explaining is, when he had a debate, there was a young lady or man, whatever it was. She said that, talked about his wife and how his wife has 3 kids. So she felt like the wife would have had a better life if she would have got rid of the kids, had the abortion, killed babies, all that, and he would have had a better life. And then he was like, no, I'm not going to back down and let somebody speak to my wife like that. So he went back at her, going back and forth. But people would think that, why would a Christian do that? No, if people are saying wrong or doing demonic things, what they are, then you're supposed to stand up as a Christian man and actually say something about it. Stand up and be firm in what you believe. That's what Christians are supposed to do. I believe that's what Jesus wants us to do, and stand up.
Stephen called me the day this was released. It could have been the day or the next day. And he says, hey, I just want to tell you, here's what's going to release, was already released. This is what really happened. I'm listening to him for 45 minutes. And the call-in's like this. I said, Stephen, you will never hear me comment on this. I said, we're not commenting on this kind of stuff. And Rob and I talked about it. Rob, if you remember, we're doing podcast prep. I'm like, this is really not a topic I want to talk about. Marriage is hard. People got to figure it out. Yeah. Of course, if it's like, someone shot and killed or something like that, okay, we have to comment on that. But an argument like this, let them handle it the way they did. I thought it got out of control, and it wasn't it became too much of a thing, because it was around the same time that he was negotiating the contract with what do you call it? With Daily Wire, right?
Yep.
And where he came out and he read the contract and what they offered him and all this stuff, that we commented on. And I said, look, when you do something like that, I would be hesitant to ever making an offer to you. Because then it's kind of like, are you going to go share my contract with them publicly? But Crowder, to me, he's a guy that...
Jeremy Boring and those people at Daily Wire shouldn't have been trying to negotiate with his ex-wife on the side.
We reacted to that God knows how many times. And then, trust me, I don't think anybody in the market would say, we are best friends with Jeremy Boring and Ben Shapiro, and Ben Shapiro loves us. And it's like, no, I've been on his show. He's been on my show. Yeah. We invited him. He's canceled a couple times. Jeremy Boring's been on. We've had good conversations. Actually, Jeremy Boring, we had a very good conversation together. Right. But I don't know, when the whole Candace thing that was taking place, everybody thought Candace is automatically going to come here. They blamed us for, this is what's going on. No, I'm on the phones. I'll help you. What,
sure.
Our enemy is on the outside. Sometimes the distractions. Can you tell me, while you're going through this, what do you mean by, did you call it sewing circle Christians that got 3 abortions?
Break it down.
Well, who are you talking about?
Well, on my side of the aisle, most critics, right, because I engage oftentimes, my argument style starts and ends with Christian ethics. That's always the viewpoint that I'm coming from, whether I'm debating politics, or I'm debating social issues, or I'm debating any of these things. That's my grounded foundation. So most of my criticisms don't actually come from leftists, though many of them do. They actually come from a particular brand of Christian. And I don't know what you would say, maybe virtue signalers, right? Mm-hmm. They're always trying to signal their virtues. And it's always like, oh my God, you smoke cigarettes, or you drink beer. Real Christians don't drink beer. Like, it's always petty criticisms. But anytime there's controversy around me, or a clip taken out of context or something like this, these are the first people to rush in and give me universal condemnation, mostly so that my enemies will look at them. And these are leftists, right? They want leftists to look at them and think, you're the good Christians. And it's like the whole time. So in other words, the whole time these people are burning the whole forest down around our ears, right? And I say, hey, put those fucking matches down. They're like, hey, don't say the F word. I'm like, well, wait, we got a bigger problem here.
That does make sense. It's very petty, and it's very childish. I mean, everybody has their say when it comes to smoking or drinking. I know, at least on the drinking part, God said we're able to drink, but don't be drunk. So you're able to have a few drinks if you want to, have some wine, do whatever, but you can't become drunk. I mean, I have to do some more research when it comes to the smoking side, but it does make sense. If he's trying to stop people over here from maybe killing babies or abortion or anything like that, or something wild going on, like really gonna affect our community and affect the world, he tries to point it out, but he'd be like, no, you can't talk. He'd be like, why? Because you smoke. That's BS. You're on my side. We're Christians. Let's go against some things that really matter, not me smoking a cigarette. So I can understand what he's saying when it comes to that. It doesn't make sense. It's very childish.
Got a bigger problem here. Nope. You said the F word.
Yeah.
That's no good.
That's childish.
Yeah.
And so those people to me are like
childish.
the lowest of the low of the low. Well, I mean, if you want specific names.
Specific names, if you're comfortable saying. Who are some of them?
So I would say people like Lila Rose, representatives like Lila Rose. I would even say, reps like Trent Horn, people like this. These are people who, they themselves may not necessarily levy the criticism directly, but it's the influence that they have over the various audiences that they have that then go and direct these criticisms towards you.
Got it.
Though I never actually see these people in the arena debating these social issues with anybody. They'll do abortion debates, things like this, but I never see them surrounded with a panel of like the worst degenerates on earth debating all of their worldviews simultaneously. But they have tons of criticisms for people who do. And I'm like, well, where are you? Nowhere. And where are you, by the way, when anybody wants to debate you on why it is that you're so inactive when it comes to the culture war and social issues, right? They turn all that stuff down. They refuse to argue with the red pillars. They refuse to argue with any of these people. They literally just refuse to engage. Tons of criticisms, absolute refusal to engage.
Got it. So Lila Rose, one time I was on her show, this was about a year and a half ago, and we were talking about, I don't know how abortion came about, and I just kind of gave my view, and then she disagreed and went back and forth. I'm like, okay, yeah. And it's very obvious she's like the fully goody two shoe, like everything I do right, that's what it is. But to me, I think there's a place for her as well. But guys like you, you know, to become you have to have lived a shitty life to get tough and be willing to go in the arena and be able to handle it. You just have to.
I agree.
You have to have lived a very, very rough life. And you don't just say, let me raise kids and make their life a living hell to raise a Andrew Wilson. That's not how it works. You go have a very, very difficult upbringing. You got this pain, this callous, this all this stuff that you've carried, and then boom, and you're like in fight mode and fight. Like, what's the next one? Who's the next one? That's not for everybody. You can't train her to be like you.
I agree.
Yeah. So, but I think there's a place for both of you guys. So,
and I even agree with that. What I don't agree with is if you're not willing to do it, shut your mouth and don't criticize. Then
got it. So if you're not willing to get in the arena, don't react and don't give your thoughts on what Andrew Wilson believes.
That's right. If you're not willing to do it yourself, and here's the thing, I've always had an open challenge.
That's never going to stop. The reaction audiences, that's a business model.
Look, I totally get it.
Yeah.
And I understand that this is something I'll always have to deal with.
Yep.
But that doesn't mean that I can't say publicly, well, show me how it's done then. Or, hey, many times we put the offers out. Then you come in, show me how you would do it better. And then we watch them fail and flop over and over and over again. It's not as easy as it looks, as you know.
Of course. And by the way, a guy like Steven Crowder, the same way he had a bad fall, he can make a massive comeback and be the main guy again. Yes. Like, at one point, I think he was the main guy. No, wasn't Crowder like the guy?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
He was the guy.
He's coming back.
Yeah,
but I want to go back to what they said. I don't think that to become an Andrew Wilson, you have to go through a whole bunch of stuff. Some things that you just know offhand. I don't think you have to go through a lot to be able to be a certain man to be able to stand up. I believe you have to go through some things, but it has to be so dramatic in your life to say, all right, I don't think men can be women and women can be men, and I don't believe that you should be able to kill babies. I mean, I'm going to stand up for it and talking about it. I don't think you have to go through things, even though some people have, and they went through things, and now they're a better person. I'm not discrediting that, but I believe even the next MLK or the next Andrew Wilson or the next person that wants to stand up for what's good has to go through traumatic things in his life to be able to come to a person that could be a beacon of truth and Christianity here in 2025 and beyond. I don't believe that at all, but they had some good points, man. Awesome. This is an awesome segment. I may review a few more clips of this, but shout out to PBD Podcast for actually bringing on Andrew Wilson. Great move on you guys, man. I know you guys always be able to interview a lot of good candidates. I'm glad. I'm proud of the work that you guys do over there. Salute to you. You got your respect over here at FearlessDisease. But smash the like, tap the next video on the screen, subscribe and hit that bell. CashApp FearlessDisease is always in the description if you're rocking with the movement. See you on the next one. Stay rich and stay fearless.